T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, boys. Hope you had a good Halloween. Got a leftover joke some kid gave me on the stoop last night. So why didn't the mom let the little witch go trick-or-treating with her friends?
Why?
Don't know.
She was expelled from school. Get it? Expelled? S-P, spell. All right, we just finished up NFL Week 8. We're glad you're with us, we think. Some lineup shakeups with some relatively big trades at the deadline. Chase Young from the Niners to the Commanders. Montez Sweat from the Bears from the Commanders. They had a fire sale, I think. Quarterback Josh Dobbs to Minnesota from Arizona, where Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles tendon and is probably done for a long time. But maybe the most surprising move, the Raiders fire head coach Josh McDaniels, GM Dave Ziegler, and wait, there's more. They're benching Jimmy Garoppolo and his big paycheck to start Purdue's favorite rookie, Aiden O'Connell. Man, take a deep breath on this one. Lugs, how are you? Where do you want to start with this crazy week? What a week.
Well, we can start with Josh McDaniel. I don't think that's very surprising, really. I mean, just what they showed against Detroit. It was one of those things where Detroit didn't necessarily want to win, but they wanted to win marginally more than Las Vegas. So I wasn't surprised by that. It's just, well, let's be honest. Some people are born to be second bananas. Like you'd never hire Michael Richards from the old Seinfeld show to be a lead actor. He's a second, third banana. Josh McDaniels is a second or third banana. He can't be out front. He just doesn't have the stamina, the smarts, or whatever. So, wasn't surprised. What do you think, Dog?
Mr. Know-It-All?
Wait a minute. I think Michael Richards to totally lead his own show. You're so full of something on that, man. That's wrong. That's just wrong.
Well, how long did that show last? That show lasted 6 episodes.
Wait, did he have his own show? Did I miss it?
He did. Michael Richards'
Oh, gosh.
show.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, it's all right.
So go back and rewind your Mr. Know-It-All on that deal.
Yeah. Wait. Let me get that for you. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, do it in
Mr.
reverse.
Know-It-All?
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'll take that part out of the show when I edit it down. T-Dog, how are you tonight? What do you think?
I'm doing good. I just think, and again, I don't keep saying it. I'll eat. I thought he would learn from his first foray as a head coach from Denver, to work well with others. And, I think that was a big part of the problem is just, again, I think he's a good X's and O's guy. Being a coach is more than that. You have to be able to massage egos. You have to be able to work with the front office. In the sad thing for him is, I mean, at least he got a second shot, I guess. So I'm not going to cry too much for Josh McDaniels, but this is it. I mean, I still think a lot of teams, it sticks in their craw what he did to the Colts. He left them high and dry.
So really it's his third shot because he let them, right.
So they already had hired a special teams coach and current Bears coach, Matt Eberflus, as their defensive coordinator. So, I mean, it had definitely gone far into essentially it was on the doorstep of him signing, and then he backed out. So,
well, I have a theory. Coaches who wear visors, Lugs, never work out. Think about it. Maybe Spurrier. Spurrier's the only one, the old ball coach.
Well, Gruden worked a little bit, but it was when he took the visor off that it didn't work.
but with Josh McDaniels, it really comes down to, again, I still think he's a good coach in terms of like kind of be fair what Luggs is saying. I mean, he's a good offensive coordinator, so like it's not that he doesn't know ball, but the element that I just don't think he's ever going to possess, and another reason why he's not going to get coached, he doesn't know how to work well with others. Like Derek Carr, I mean, we see him with the Saints. He definitely has some flaws and stuff, but where they're both at their stage of the careers, how you can go to Jimmy Garoppolo and he has a lot of problems without getting into his biggest bugaboo is just he can't stay healthy. I mean, he cannot stay healthy. And, it feels like, we're very early into this, and I don't know how much we'll lower. A big part of it sounds like one contributing factor of him getting heave-ho was Devontae Adams was sick of him. And, this was a problem with, I think, early on with Jay Cutler with the Denver Broncos. He didn't like him and Josh McDaniels went to Kyle Orton. And again, Kyle Orton was an adequate quarterback. And I know Jay Cutler maybe didn't do a whole lot with the Bears, but Jay Cutler was way more talented than Kyle Orton and whatever quarterback that Denver had in the short time that Josh McDaniels was there. He can't work with talent. Like he has to learn to work with talent. Like it's the one thing. If there's one thing people could take away from what we say is like the coaches need to look at what the players do well and create the systems to do what they do well, and not I have a system, you have to assimilate to my system. That is boneheaded, rockheaded, and all these coaches, hopefully in the next 5 years that still think like that, are shot into the sun. And
but isn't that what they're taught at the lap of Bill Belichick? If you look at all the coaches that have come out from New England, they've all been failures, basically, because of that. Because Belichick has a system, and he really doesn't change it. It's just that Brady made that system work.
The only kind of fly in your ointment, and obviously I know it's not at the pro level, Luggs, and I guess some people wouldn't count him as an acolyte, is Nick Saban is kind of an acolyte of Bill Belichick. So he was. You can't say he wasn't. He was. He was the defensive coordinator, I believe, under Belichick with the Cleveland Browns. So like he was.
And how well did he do in the pros?
I honestly think he would have been good in the pros. A lot of that, again, we don't have a special podcast you want to talk about the butterfly effect of the doctor who didn't okay Drew Brees' arm, because they were going to go with Drew Brees, and the doctor in Miami said no go, and they went Dante Culpepper. How drastically that changes everything, and probably even so much so that New Orleans doesn't even have the Saints anymore if Drew Brees doesn't get there.
So that's the woulda, coulda, shoulda podcast we're not doing?
Yeah, I mean, we can.
I like that name. Let's try it.
Sign it up.
We'll make a phone call, see if we can copyright that. Be right back.
And think about this, too. Like, Alabama doesn't go on this resurgence of becoming, re-becoming the powerhouse that it was in its heyday. So
okay, two more coaches who wore visors and stink. Matt Nagy, right? Horrible head coach. Scott Satterfield.
I think he's running a
Satterfield wears a visor.
Oh yeah, I think Nagy's running a McDonald's somewhere in Illinois. I think it may be close to SIU.
Whoa! See, why do you have to do that? Now wait a minute. No, he's actually
he's the offensive coordinator for KC.
Right. He's on the sidelines in Mahomes and Otto's ears. What are you talking about, man?
Hey,
Come on.
And how's that working out this year?
Oh, it's fine.
Talk to me.
Look, I mean, we don't have to really get into the game.
They're
People are
missing.
like,
oh, Lord.
No, what happened? What happened?
They're missing Eric Bieniemy. They're missing Eric Bieniemy.
I'm not saying to the degree you're right, but look, the week before Mahomes put up over 400 yards and I believe 3 touchdowns. What happened last Sunday was he had the flu and he was at an elevated spot in Denver.
So that was his Michael Jordan flu game?
Well, it was
not quite.
I think KC fans wanted it to be, and it ended up not being that at all. So
see, Lovie Smith didn't wear a visor, did he, Luggs? I don't think so.
Oh no, no, man.
No, we were.
I love Lovie.
Bud Grant, did he wear a visor? No, I don't think so.
No. No, he didn't even wear boxers. But anyhow,
What?
Kansas City,
He wore
without
briefs.
Taylor Swift, they got nobody, you know?
Without Taylor Swift, they got nobody. All right, wait, let's go back to this whole shake it up stuff. Chase Young, let's get your take on that. Chase Young is now a Niner. That's a big deal.
I think it's great for him. I mean, he's gone from just nowheresville to actually being able to look at least maybe a championship, if not a Super Bowl win.
From the outhouse to the penthouse kind of thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
What do you say, dog? What do you think?
Oh no. Obviously he hasn't lived up to what he was supposed to be coming out of Ohio State, being the first overall pick. And
That's right.
As a rookie, he had a phenomenal rookie year. Like, if you look at that year and project out, like, he was going to be one of the most dominant forces. And unfortunately for Chase Young, the 2 years after that rookie year, he's just had some injury problems. That being said, he's not going to have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting on this 49ers team. They have Hargraves. They have Bosa. Like, he's going to get Chase Young's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. And to be fair, not to say he didn't, because he's coming from a team that had a very talented defensive line, or did, and now is going to a team that also has a very talented defensive line. The big difference is the 49ers, even though there have been missteps with their offense in the last few weeks that has made them sputter and has them on a 3-game losing streak, I still think they're going to bounce back, and they're going to be okay. And even though Seattle currently has the NFC West lead, the 49ers will overtake them, I think, down the road again. So, and, all these people that are now coming out of the woodwork to kill Brock Purdy, again, like with a lot of things, I think some people were too high on him, and now some people who've been too low on him. I think he's a very good quarterback. And again, I mean this as a compliment, J-Boy. He's maybe has a potential to be a slightly better Kirk Cousins. I think, and I mean that as a compliment. Like, if everything's right around him, which it is for the 49ers, we've seen him operate at a fairly high level. And the one thing the reason I say he maybe is a better version of Kirk Cousins, even in a game where he had a boneheaded pick that I believe Jermaine Pratt had that would have helped them tie the game possibly, and at very least get 3 points to make it 17-13. He threw a bad pick to Jermaine Pratt, the linebacker for the Bengals. But he made a lot of plays off script where he's rolling out of the pocket, made some great passes. George Kittle made that touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey. Both of them were off script. Again, that was the big knock I had on Jimmy Garoppolo, where still some people were saying Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Brock Purdy because he has all this experience. It's like, give me a break.
But Garoppolo's coming off that back surgery. I mean, why even come back to the game?
Yeah.
You're on the banana peel and you're standing over a big hole.
Well,
crazy.
I mean, we can go back to the trades, but I'll just say, just to kind of put a bow, at least for me, on the Raiders, they've already said that they're going to make Aiden O'Connell their starter for Week 9. And I'll be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo plays another snap, even if Aiden O'Connell gets crushed like he did against the Chargers, where I think Khalil Mack had like 6 sacks in a game, or maybe even more than that. He's not going to see the field because, like you said, they paid him big money.
Yeah,
obviously they already regret that. And if he gets injured during the season, which it is Jimmy Garoppolo, he could get injured during the season. They want him healthy when the season ends so that they can cut him. So he's not touching the ball again for if he plays. Let's put it this way: if he plays again, they're going to straight out release him during the season, and he's going to play for somebody else. That's all.
All right, since you're on the quarterback topic, how about Josh Dobbs, who's going to fill in for Kirk Cousins eventually after Jaron Hall? I guess the rookie gets a start this week. How do you like that? I kind of like it, but I can't really predict the future.
Well, I think they're going to have to invest in a serious quarterback after this, because I think we all agree Kirk Cousins will be in New England or Atlanta somewhere.
Or selling cars. He's 35, man. I don't know. This might be it. if it's devastating.
Still, I've lambasted Cousins for a long time, but he's still a B-plus quarterback. I will give him that. I mean, he doesn't do too many stupid things. Occasionally he will. But, I think they've got to go out and get themselves somebody. But to finish up with the Raiders, they need to get Brian Flores. Brian Flores would fit with them.
Maybe.
How I feel about the Josh Dobbs, J Boy?
Yeah, let's go.
I'll just put it this way. I think it can work out. Obviously, they're just trying to stay in the hunt of the wild card because, like you said, like the ship has sailed on winning the division. It's. I'm not saying it's all sewn up because, again, to be fair to what Lug said in terms of Brian Flores, you look at the talent on paper that the Vikings have on defense. The only guy who really kind of stands out on the ledger is Danielle Hunter.
Right.
And these last 3 weeks, he has really turned them around. They are playing well. Like it's them playing at a high level and intensity. And also, even though I think this season might be adrift for the Vikings after they were rallying, again, going back to even the preview for this year, I think this was a kind of transition year for the Vikings. I still think the Vikings fans should be spirited about what the future is because, you look at Justin Jefferson, he might not play again this year, but because they want to pay him. And you look at what Jordan Addison has done.
Yep.
TJ Hawkinson was a great trade last year, and he's still relatively young. And they have a potential to really draft a quarterback or, maybe be able to trade for a quarterback to help. And this is the biggest thing is, they've been without Justin Jefferson for the last 3 weeks. They win a great game against still what I think is a good defense in the 49ers.
Yeah.
And, and then they win against Green Bay, which, again, not that we'll talk about Green Bay. Green Bay is definitely suspect, but they have a lot of talent on that defense. And he was able to kind of shred them up until he unfortunately got injured. I want to give a lot of respect to Kevin O'Connell because you look at, they lose their best player, Justin Jefferson, and they're scheming up Jordan Addison, a rookie. And and on some of those catches you see, he's wide open. So I just want to give respect to, again, that was a good hire by the Minnesota Vikings. And that's why, like I said, even though this might not be a great year for Vikings fans now, I think you should be pretty happy about, the hire they made last year and the future ahead. So,
and they're only 2 games out of first place. I think you're punting it too soon. They're 4-4. The Lions are 6-2. I wouldn't give up on them yet. I think there's a lot of football to be played there. That whole.
Well, this is the thing, Josh Dobbs.
You don't like it.
Not that you all play fantasy football. No, he played well for Arizona early on, and
True.
if you look at his stats against the Ravens to some degree this Sunday, you'd be like, oh, he played pretty well. I think he had 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. If you watch the game, guys, he did not play that well. And he hasn't played well for the last month. He started hot, and like I said, I kind of root for him. I mean, there's not a lot of guys who I believe he could possibly. He went at space aeronautics as his degree out of Tennessee. So obviously he's a very smart guy. So
got a second career waiting for him down there at Cape Canaveral.
But I just, like I said, I don't think he's a good quarterback, and I think obviously it's going to be a massive downgrade from Kirk Cousins. And maybe, I know, J-Boy, in the preseason, you're high on him. Maybe Hall actually ends up being the guy.
I like him. In the clubhouse, he talks a good game.
So,
Lugs, 2 more coaches who didn't wear visors I like a lot. Vince Lombardi, enough said, right? Never wore a visor. And let me just throw this one at you. Abe Gibron, T-Dog, he never wore a visor for the hapless Bears in the 70s, I think. Okay, the other trades. What do you like about the other ones? Anybody? We got Montez Sweat. We got Chase Young. We got there was some good stuff out there.
Leonard Williams to the Seahawks, I think, was probably one of the best moves because the Seahawks are playing very well, and currently they are in the division. And actually, their defense is playing well, and their main weakness is their offensive line. But you all know that how the NFL is right now. There's not a lot of great offensive linemen, so people are not giving away offensive linemen. So, some people might be like, well, you're already good on defense. But, well, if you're still want to try to improve on getting better, why not just build a strength on a strength? So, you add Leonard Williams, and that helps you. They're already, like I said, a good defense against the run. So, like, you add Leonard Williams, he can get some pressure on the quarterback. I mean, he's not going to get you 12 sacks a year type of guy, but he can still put some pressure on the quarterback and get some hits and sacks. So I think that was a big one. The one for the Bears, I know certain Bears fans are not happy about it, and obviously I think a lot of that pain comes from the Chase Claypool from last year.
Yeah.
Here's the big differences. The similarity, they're both young. Chase Claypool and Montez Sweat were both young. Here's the big difference. Montez Sweat's actually good. So Montez Sweat is actually a good pass rusher. Again, he's not a 10 sack, 10 to double digit sack guy. He's probably going to always operate around 9 to 8 sacks on like really good years, but he can apply pressure, which they don't have, I believe, for the year. I believe the Bears are around 10 sacks, and 5 of those came against the Commanders,
right? Just
because Sam Howell wants to break David Carr's record for whatever reason of getting killed. But I think it was a good move because they needed a pass rusher. Again, I'm not acting like I'm a draftnik. I'm not. But just from what I've read about the 2024 draft, there's not really a premier pass rusher from the edge. I think they're more interior pass rushers in this draft. So, like, there's not really going to be a pipeline in the draft this year for them. And, I mean, the big elephant in the room, you're like, well, they got to save money for Justin Fields' big contract next year. That's not happening because they're resetting at quarterback. So
correct.
They'll save a lot of money on what would have gone to the quarterback. So even though his contract's up in the year, Montez Sweat, they'll re-sign him, and if he doesn't, they'll franchise him. And that's the thing, is like they're just trying to build out. Maybe they're trying to be like the Lions. They thought they had maybe the quarterback. I know it's still early in the season, but I think they already know like Justin Fields isn't the guy. So they're just trying to build a roster, and then hopefully they can drop a quarterback into it.
And Lugs, Tyson Bagent is not the guy, apparently. I don't know yet.
But D-Dog,
yeah,
you were lambasting him for not throwing long. First play of the game, 41 yards on the money. Okay?
Yeah. No,
but that was the only play of the game.
No,
woof, as they say, woof.
Well, he also had a deep throw that should have been caught by Velus Jones. Velus Jones either was shot by an invisible sniper or needs to.
I think he was
tie his shoes tighter.
Yeah.
So I will agree with you, Lugs. I was wrong in him throwing deep, but even if you all watched the full, I don't know if you all watched the full game. Mike Tirico brought that up, and
he did
because Nathan Peterman and
yeah.
He said that Matt Eberflus in the interview says, "Well, we'll see about that." I'm now more confounded by this coaching staff. Why did they trot out Nathan Peterman the week before? Like, that's why you would think that's an indicator that he can't throw deep. Is they brought out another quarterback? Was he winded? Did he get like a stinger to bring him in? Why would you bring out the backup quarterback to throw deep, and then you're like, oh yeah, Tyson Bagent could throw it. He can rip it. I don't know.
Well,
it just adds more confusion.
Chicago's brain trust is suspect at the best of times.
I'm not sure Eberflus will make it to year 3. I don't know. It's just I don't know.
To be fair to your point, I think also that move to get Montez Sweat, I think a big underlying part of it is what you're saying is
save my job.
Yes, I think because again, these guys, when these guys were hired, Eberflus and Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren was not there.
True, he wasn't.
And Kevin Warren, he is the guy. who runs the
football
McCaskey's
operations.
the
Yep,
guy.
true.
So I think because they fired the running back coach today, and supposedly I think they said it was for attitude issues. Again, I haven't got to read about it but like that's the thing is when you start seeing these people axed, during the season, and you just keep shuffling the deck like the Bears have. Like I feel there is pressure on these people to produce. And I think Poles is probably safe, but I agree with you, Jay Boy. I think unless what would you put that the Bears have to get to for Poles or for Eberflus to even possibly have his job?
He doesn't help himself at all. I'm going to throw this at Lugs because, okay, who would you rather have? Kevin O'Connell, who works a room, he's a former quarterback, he looks the part, or Matt Eberflus, who's kind of like, he's not very gregarious, magnanimous, any of those us words. What do you think, Lugs? I mean, I just don't see it.
Right off the bat, the name Eberflus doesn't do anything for me. It's not Hollywood enough. I need a little bit of pizzazz even in the name.
Oh man, there you go with your entomology or whatever. They're not study of bugs. What is the study of language?
No, you're right.
You're right.
Is it
etymology?
Okay,
you're right.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is a very weird prejudice that you have there, Lugs. So, I hate to think of all the people you've not even paid attention to or haven't even paid any thought to just because you didn't like the name like Sikowski.
Or Craig Thorpe. There's a guy.
Or Craig Thorpe.
He didn't wear a visor. Oh, wait, he was a bad coach. He was a bad coach.
Is he still alive? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, we digress.
But what I wanted to say was Cincinnati is back.
Yep.
Burrow, that was an amazing performance. He appears to be back healthy. So, and T. Higgins seems to be back healthy. I mean, he had 5 catches. He was there, and he didn't drop any. So I was just impressed with Burrow because San Francisco's defense, they're a good team. They really are. So that was pretty amazing. And Cincinnati's offensive line at least gave him being Burrow, a chance to throw the ball cleanly for the first time in a long time.
And so I'm just happy you're pronouncing his name right, to be honest. I mean, you were Burrows. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And allow me to say this. What are you doing Sunday? I think the three of us, let's see, you need 11 guys on offense, 11. The three of us could suit up and probably win a game in the NFC South. Nobody wants that division.
Yeah, true enough.
4-4, 4-4, 3-4, 1-6. Come on. Somebody win.
Well, I mean, we can look at, I look at quarterbacks. There are no real, shining quarterbacks. There aren't. And if you don't have that, then you really don't have, whatever we think of quarterbacks and are they overpaid and all of that, if you don't have one that's decent, you're not going anywhere.
No, week 8 was definitely an example of why these guys are overpaid, but why they're overpaid. Yeah. It's because all these teams had backups. And again, I'll defend Bagent. I think Bagent still can be a guy who has a long career, and maybe he ends up being a starter, probably more of a stopgap or journeyman guy. But I think he has a lot of the abilities to be a guy who hangs around like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, or maybe even a better version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that about Bagent.
Has a little it factor, doesn't he? A little bit.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he's raw, but but you look at and obviously I'll hold off on one team in Tennessee because I want Lugs to start off because that was his boy.
Take that one. Take that.
No, we'll hold off on that. We'll hold off. But we had Stafford got injured because they ran him as a receiver on a 2-point play. Like, this man, speaking of people who are 35
and multiple surgeries, right?
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, again, Sean McVay's a good coach, but who took over? Anyway, I don't want to get into that right now. But you look at like him as a backup. You look at Zach Wilson, who I know he was drafted high, but he was technically a backup coming in. For the most part, was awful. Like essentially, the Giants dared him to throw. And at least Jets were willing to throw, unlike the Giants with DeVito. But and then you have the backup in Jordan Love. I mean, sorry, my bad. He's the starter.
Oh,
sorry.
he is. Ooh, wow. Yeah.
But
Caught up with yourself.
sorry. But I mean, that's the thing is they would probably, I think Green Bay would kill for PJ Walker right now. Like PJ Walker has not been great for Cleveland, but he's been solid enough with that defense and with that offensive line with the running attack that he's played solid enough that they're 4-3. They should have won that game. That was Stefanski messed that game up. They should have beat the Seahawks last week. But and Gardner Minshew, God bless him, like he's trying to go out there and win, but like he's just one of those guys who can have some exciting plays, but he's gonna make 2 to 3 bonehead decisions.
Yep.
That probably 2 of them are going to be big takeaways. Either he gives it away in the red zone for them to score, or in the shadow of their own end zone, and it allows the easy, 3 to 7 points for the opponent. So, but hold it. Now I want to clear the runway in Lugs. Speaking of a backup though, who ended up being a sensation. What do you think of Mr. Will Levis?
Well, he had nothing to lose. You got to say that Malik Willis is probably done. Pretty much first play of the game, he fumbles the ball right off, and then you get Will Levis. And, hey, he came in. I mean, he gave you what we all thought he could. He could sling that ball, man. Plus, he was playing smart. I mean, he was looking defenders off of where he was going, and then when it came time to throw the ball, man, that was going. I mean, there was no duck flutter there. It was a tight spiral, and it got to its target. Impressive. I think they should stay with him. I don't know if Tannehill will try to force himself back in the lineup, because he knows this is probably his last year with Tennessee as well. So he needs to get back in to raise his stock to end up somewhere. But, you had that moment. 3 TD passes ain't bad.
Actually, it was 4.
4. Quattro.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 4.
I think it was the Houston Oilers uniforms myself. I mean, the Love You Blue, that was solid right there. That looked good. Bring them back. Let's go.
Amen to that.
Texans. What's a Texan, dude? What is a Texan?
Amen. I will say this, kind of going around with Lugs. Just when you watch those 2 deep touchdown passes to DeAndre Hopkins, it is like crazy how strong his arm is, because it's not even like he's throwing that hard. It just looks like he's kind of flicking his arm, and it is. It's a very tight missile spiral down the.
A lot of zip on that baby too. Holy smokes!
That's what the thing is like. Even actually 3 of his touchdowns were just great deep balls. 2 to DeAndre Hopkins, and then the Westbrook Akina, his last one to win the game, was also just perfectly placed. And look, he's going to have ups and downs, and Atlanta for the most part has been a good defense this year, but they weren't playing their best, and it'll be a real interesting test for him Thursday night when he faces the Steelers. It sounds like Cameron Hayward's going to be possibly back. He was activated today, so it's going to be tough sled in week 2. But I mean, he showed enough that I kind of agree with what it sounded like Lug says. I've liked Ryan Tannehill, but I think just in that one game, Will Levis provided too much of a spark. You have to stick with this guy until the wheels fall off. So
yeah, I mean, think about it. He had more throwing touchdowns in that one game than Tennessee had all season. They only had 3 before that. So, yeah, I mean, stick with Levis, man. At least it's excitement. It gives the commentators something to think about. He'll put some people in the seats. Ryan Tannehill has never been a guy to put people in the seats. He's been adequate, but you don't you don't go to those games saying, I want to watch Ryan Tannehill. But Levis, yeah, I want to see some of that. That's fireworks.
I think it's pretty cool just to see all the backup I mean, look how many backup quarterbacks are playing already this year. We're only not even halfway through. Well, just about now, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I took a shot at Jordan Love. I want to apologize to him because easily, if we're talking about the
Friend
worst,
of the show, you should.
Worst quarterback to play this week, and it's hard to say because he scored a touchdown, but actually it's not when you think about how many attempts they allowed him to have, and he's finished with negative passing yards. Tommy DeVito.
Yes, sir.
I get it. He's a third-string quarterback.
Tommy DeVito. Doesn't he have a sandwich shop down on 3rd Street? What is going on
He's
there?
The nephew of Danny DeVito. Yeah, he's the Jersey Mike's. He's low. But anyway, that they were willing to throw at all. I don't know.
It's crazy.
I mean, look, he played well at Illinois, and I know that's completely lower tier than NFL is college.
Yeah, that's the Big Ten, Division III of the Big Ten. Yeah, right.
But this guy was a starter too. But speaking of that Titans Atlanta game, Desmond Ridder, I know he was at the time they said he was benched because of game time decision, and then afterwards Arthur Smith tried to say, "Oh, he had a concussion." I think that's just trying to cover it up. Look, I know he's a local guy. I want him to do well, but let's just roll with Taylor Heineke because again, like what you were all bringing up, the NFC South is up for grabs.
Totally,
Atlanta still has enough talent. I think we've through 8 games we've seen what Desmond Ridder is. I don't think he's made enough of a progression. Let's just go with Heineke. I know he's got his warts too, but I think there was a lot of magic and he sparked that team. It looked like that team was gonna get dolly-whopped, and it was a tight game, and he could have led them down. Actually, Van Jefferson missed a pass. Now, to be fair, it was behind him. So again, this is the problems of Taylor Heineke, but he could have led them down to possibly win that Titans game. So I think he gives them some juice that I don't think Ridder has. So.
Well, all you're going to need to do is win 8 or 9 games in the NFC South, I think, and you got it. So I mean, they're halfway there. They got a shot as anybody else.
I think it's your Saints. Your Saints are going to win the South. Derek Carr will do enough to do it.
All right. By the way, if you hear some buzzing in the background, we're having fire alarm testing here at the broadcast center. So apologize for that in week 8. All right.
By the way, I'm just going to say Denver, what can you read into that game other than, Mahomes had the flu, but at least Wilson showed up a little bit.
There's life.
The one thing, again, kind of like the Minnesota, the one thing I want to give credit to, where I guess it's a half and half, because obviously some of the reason you're giving them compliments because they're so bad at the beginning of the year, is after they allowed 70 points to the Dolphins. If you look at the last 3 games, Denver's defense has really tightened up. I don't know. I know they got rid of some talents. They traded away some talents and they let some older players go. I don't know what they've changed in terms of maybe how they're running their defense, if they simplified it or what, I don't know. But they're playing a lot better in this 3-game stretch. And it looks like the other big maybe boon for them is Javonte Williams, who came off a major knee injury entering this year. He played well early on, but they just kind of limited him in terms of his carries. They ramped him up significantly in this game. He had, I believe, 20-plus carries. And if they can get the running game going, and if this defense can play like it has the last 3 weeks, I don't think they make the playoffs. But, again, Sean Payton's on his way to getting to maybe a 7-9 record. And, I still think this is maybe the end for Russell Wilson in Denver. But, at least he won't be a complete joke like he was last year. He's played adequate. I mean, I don't think he's played great, but I don't think he's been, like I said, the kind of running joke that he was last year. So
I think you hit on the point. Was they had a running game, so it took it out of Russell Wilson's hands to a large degree. I mean, yeah, he had the 3 TDs, but it was just dink and dunk for the most part, and but he was also sacked 4 times and fumbled twice. So he had those Russell Wilson moments.
Well, I mean, I think KC's defense is really good, but you are right. Like, I think they're really going to lean into the running game. And the other nice thing for them too is their undrafted free agent Jaleel McLaughlin. That kid, I mean, he could get more carries if they wanted him to, but like pretty much he has at least two explosive plays in each game on the limited snaps he's gotten. I know they were talking about trading Sutton or Judy, but if you watch, and he's super raw, but like he was the first draft pick by Sean Payton in this regime with the Broncos. Marvin Mims has had some moments where he's also just, when he gets going, like he can really create like game breaking or game breaking in terms of a positive way on the offense type plays. So like they have some pieces to work with down the road. They're still super green. So like we said with Sean Payton, I think they're gonna finish below 500, but like he has some pieces in place. They're gonna be good, I think, down the road.
All right.
This is I was just going to say this is a freebie season for him. He can do whatever he wishes to audition players on both sides of the ball.
Especially working for Walmart coming up to the holidays, man. He's going to get a big screen TV. You know he is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
On Black Friday.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 42 past the hour, 42 degrees in the tri-state. Lugs, you ready for a little sports of yesteryear?
Yes, sir.
Let's bring it on. It's our weekly feature. We call it Sports of Yesteryear. Lugs goes way back and tells us about stuff that, well, happened a long time ago. Take it away, Lugs. Go.
All right, 1913. Notre Dame beats Army 35-13 in their inaugural football game. Quarterback Gus Duras and receiver, get this, Newt Rockne, for the first time used the forward pass to secure a victory. 1938, Wonder Horse Seabiscuit with George Wolfe aboard beats 1937 Triple Crown winner War Admiral by 3 lengths at Pimlico, setting a track record. He got $15,000 for his owners at that one race, so that was pretty good. 1950, Celtics forward Chuck Cooper becomes first African-American to play in the NBA in Boston's 107-84 loss at Fort Wayne Pistons. Future Hall of Famer Bob Cousy also debuted for the Celtics. 1959, future Pro Football Hall of Fame running back Jim Brown runs for 5 touchdowns as the Cleveland Browns win over the Colts 38-31. And finally, 2003, Arkansas football Razorbacks beat the Kentucky Wildcats 71-63 in 7 overtimes at Commonwealth Stadium, tying the NCAA record for the longest game in football history. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Thank you, Lugs, for that report. Newt Rockne as a receiver. I knew he was a coach. Is that what he played as his natural position, so to speak?
I think so. And that's not bad for a guy that was only like 5'7". He was mostly nose, which got flattened because, they had no protection, no helmets, just those leather things.
Excuse me, son, do you want to be on the team? Well, Coach, I'm mostly nose, but yeah, I'd love to be on the team if you can have me. Mostly.
Look at
mostly
the pictures
nose.
Of
T-Dog, what's he mean by that? Mostly nose, man.
Mostly nose. I don't know.
Holy smokes! I'm gonna go. Okay, crack research. Talk amongst yourselves. They're gonna go look for a picture of that situation.
The Newt man.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
well.
Yeah. Is that the joke that the guy should get rhinoplasty type of thing, or?
No, in his era, he was a good-looking dude. You know,
I like how you said in his era. Like, I'm not saying that beauty attributes don't shift over time, but like you're like, no, he'd be considered like a Cro-Mac.
And there he
in
is.
Today's era. Oh yeah, I could see it. I could see
I
it.
believe the phrase we know from a friend of the show, Debbie, was "handsome devil." Lugs, handsome devil.
He's a handsome devil. Yes, he was.
Okay, we'll get out of that for a minute. Okay, it's all right. Take it away. I don't know where to go from here. Newt Rockney. He didn't wear a visor either. See?
Hey, no, he had the fedora or something,
Right.
like whatever that was.
Yeah, fedora.
I guess like I don't have a lot to go on other games. I guess the one I want to just because I
Please.
it feels like I give him a lot of grief, and even though I do like him, it's more of a certain condition about him that I worry about him long term. But I want to give him his flowers. Bryce Young played a good game coming off a bye. To win the game. They drove the length of the field to kick a winning field goal. Against the Texans, at least the fan base of the Panthers can hold on to. Maybe we didn't make the wrong call in taking Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud.
And they're not wearing the collar this year, which I don't know if we had them wearing the collar or not, but they're not. They got a W, so that's good.
I don't think I had him wearing the collar. I think I had him just one win, but I think I learned from last year. I think I had one team wear the collar. I think they tied the first week of the season.
I think that was Houston. We got to do it. Maybe that's the other podcast too. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. We got to do one on phrases like wearing the collar.
Where they come from.
Yeah, let's do that. Right after we talk
But-
about best cheese snacks.
Oh, okay. I like that. But I just want to give him some props.
Yep, agreed.
And, the other one that I want to hit on is that triggered I know it was only two players, but you think of like the importance of them to the team, the fire sale that happened with the Commanders. You got to give some credit, and to be fair to Lugs, like it's been up and down. I'm not saying it hasn't had some problems, but like for the amount of points that the Commanders are putting up with Sam Howell is impressive. And, they do have talented receivers in Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. And Logan Thomas has been playing really well at tight end. But, they almost pulled off a big upset against the Eagles. But we've said all year, luckily the offense is really starting to click for the Eagles. That defense still hasn't really turned around. And even though they only have one loss on the season, they still aren't a team you fear as a juggernaut, right?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think this clears the way, though, for the Commanders and new ownership to, setting the table to kill Riverboat Ron Rivera and, clean house after this season?
Oh, he's definitely gone.
Yeah.
And will they elevate Eric Bieniemy? So
I think, to be fair to your point, Lugs, I think there is potential for that because I think we've talked about before. This is no disrespect to defensive coaches. Mainly this ties back to what we talked about. Quarterbacks are so important.
Yep.
And how you have a quarterback have a good career and where you want to pay them the absurd amount of money is that they have a good offense, and how you usually retain a good offense for years and hopefully a decade plus is your head coach is an offensive minded coach. Yeah. So I think there's a real possibility you're right where Eric Bieniemy does take over as a head coach if they're able to retain scoring, let's say on average, like 20, 27 points a game, even if they're not getting a lot of W's. I don't see why you'd make the switch. And like I said, I know it comes off maybe that I don't like Sam Howell. Sam Howell has a lot of good qualities. Just the problem is his one weakness. Everyone has these different weaknesses. There's certain weaknesses that feel like they're fatal flaws, and just the amount of how long he holds the ball and how he gets sacked all the time. Mm-hmm. That doesn't feel like a lot. Usually a trait that goes away. I don't think. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you need a quarterback whisperer, don't you? And that maybe is what Bieniemy is. It's either him or, like we said before, Matt Nagy will be available after the program to sign autographs.
even after taking all those hits, Sam Howell is putting some points on the board. I mean, it's not like that they haven't shown offensive flourishes. It's just that
It's not pretty, but
they haven't been to stop anybody. You know.
Yeah, he has a better arm than what a lot of people think. I mean, he's not a big guy. He's stocky. I want to say he's like 6'1". He is very, very much like Baker Mayfield. He is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he has better wheels than Baker Mayfield. I want to give him that. Like, I think he has more mobility. Baker Mayfield has a pretty good arm. I don't know if Sam Howell's arm is as good, but it's still very good. But like I said, Lugs, it's not that I don't think he's talented. The problem is accumulating all these hits in 1 year. He's going to be so physically ravaged that I don't know, even once he gets experience where maybe he gets a tick quicker at getting the ball released, his body might be completely shot like David Carr's was. So that's what I worry about.
The Tim Couch.
I think he's talented. Yes, actually, that's a perfect point, J-Boy. Yeah, the Tim Couch situation.
Right. All the talent in the world didn't get him anywhere. I also have a theory. Teams that wear the one color, like all burgundy, maroon, whatever that color is for the Commanders, the one color top to bottom, it doesn't work out. Lugs, you agree with that? You know what I'm talking about? That's when they wear that, what they call those color flare.
When you go monochrome, you're asking for trouble because, we have to readjust our sets. So.
Yeah, we have to ask Lugs' friends at the Elias Sports Bureau to see how accurate that theory is. Maybe it is.
Because you saw the Lions on Monday night. Didn't that look like a jumpsuit from prison? Like all gray?
I kind of liked it.
Like they picked them out of the warm-up, the sweatpants at Walmart, maybe?
Now, I thought more of like a robot from the 50s, just that metal
the day the earth stood still kind of thing.
I just saw that. Good movie.
Writing that down.
I kind of like it because the old logo, and maybe this company stole it. The old logo on the helmets reminds me. Lugs will like this. A grocery chain that I think is based in the Carolinas. Food Lion.
Yes, sir.
It reminds me of the Food Lion. So
yeah.
And that lion, that one there, the throwback is called the Walking Lion from the 40. They wore it from 46 to 69, I think.
So they should bring it back. That was during one of their most successful periods.
Right. Yeah, and it was a royal lion. It's on a lot of crest. Speaking of Anglophiles, there.
Oh man! I will go back to at least this. I'll tie a bow, and this will be the last thing for the week.
Yeah.
Is going back to your monochrome. If you all remember the color rush,
you're right. That was the Lions was the color rush, the gray. But yes, I do.
There was a season, or I think maybe multiple seasons. They did the color rush.
Well, it was for the Thursday night games, right? When they started Thursday night, correct?
And the funniest one that they really screwed up, and they forgot a part of their viewing audience is they had, I believe it was the Texans wearing their all red versus the New York Jets who were wearing their all green. Those two colors are two of the colors that colorblind people cannot see. So there were people who were watching the game and they couldn't tell who was who. So
I think in the words of that comedian, Stephen Wright, well, he was watching a better game than I was. And I'll leave you with this one tidbit, too, before we go. Just for the Elias Sports Bureau. Game 1 of the 2023 World Series was the least watched game in the history of the World Series. Ooh. And Game 2 was the least watched Fall Classic game on record again. So, it's not good for baseball. All right, anything else tonight?
None. Not for me.
All right, let's get out of here. This has been Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you in part by Henry Lawrence Clothiers, where the models buy their clothes. Many locations throughout the metro area, including North Riverside Park. Stop in and ask for our guy. He's there tonight.
Our man Fish.
Yep.
This week, in 1997, the movie Titanic had its first public screening at the Tokyo International Film Festival. the movie would become one of the highest grossing of all time, and it made Leonardo DiCaprio an international star. So come on down this Saturday at 1 p.m. for all things Leo. Fish has requisitioned merch from Leo's beginning as a supporting cast member of the TV sitcom Growing Pains in 1985 and the low-budget horror flick Critters 3 in 1991. Entry is $20 with special screenings of What's Eating Gilbert Grape and the blockbuster Titanic. Come on down.
Yep, get in your rowboat, whatever boat you got, and check out that Titanic fabulous festival. This has been Sports and Other Stuff. We'll see you again next week, we hope, as long as we find a boat, not the Titanic. See you then. Bye-bye.